Hi, this is Lisa.
And this is Joe.
And welcome to your cheap date for Saturday, April 14, 2007.
On this week's show, we take it on the road. Sort of.
I don't know, on the road.
Well, we're homeless.
We are. We're podcasting from a hotel room.
This is totally awesome. The Jameson Suites in Arlington Heights, right off of Arlington Heights Road.
No, it's not a video podcast.
But if it were, people, let me tell you. You get to see the mini bar. Actually, there's no mini bar. It's just a fridge.
That's not a mini bar. That's a fridge.
Right. I just said that.
Well, it's not a mini bar.
You get to see the sign at the Wellington of Arlington that says Anquit facilities for all occasions. Anquits.
So we're sitting on a little couch here in our suite.
That's right. And we're homeless. And why are we homeless, darling?
Because we're moving into our house.
That's right. We sold the condo. Yay! Lisa, as mentioned in a previous show, mentioned that the condo was for sale, the cheap date condo, and it is now empty. So we moved out of there on Monday or Tuesday of this week, and we move into our new house shortly. So that's gonna be totally cool.
It's gonna be great.
Yes, tomorrow as we're recording this, we're actually recording this on Wednesday.
It has a full recording studio in the basement.
Yes, completely with the latest equipment, state of the art, quiet room. Yeah.
Well,
it's right next to the washing machine and the furnace.
Yeah, actually that's the hot water closet, but
But yeah, so the next cheap date show you'll hear, well, the next show, oh, you know what? The next show is going to be, I think it's going to be a live remote next time too.
Chef's List?
I believe so. So you'll get to hear a show from the new studios at some point in the near future. Stand by for that. But suffice it to say, we're sitting in a very awesome hotel suite.
Oh, come on. This is an adventure.
You get free breakfast. They have the cool waffle maker.
Yeah, it would help if they turned it on before I dumped batter in it.
Lisa, yeah, that's a true cheat.
It was
date. Not
funny at 6 o'clock this morning.
Lisa's like, why isn't this thing going? There were 2 waffle irons there, and Lisa dumped her little thing of Carbon's malted batter in the thing, and she flipped it over, just very good.
And I stood there for like 10 minutes.
And she was checking it, and then all of a sudden she's like, I'm going to check this out. She lifts it up, and it was just like...
Yes, it sounded just like that. No, that was a good sound, like visual.
Yes. It didn't actually make a sound at all, I don't think.
No, the only sound was me swearing.
Which was awesome.
Let's talk about restaurants.
Well, first of all, I think we need to thank people. We received a ton of well wishes from people.
Oh, yeah, I get confused about our time frame here.
I know.
Yes, our last podcast was about our honeymoon.
That's right.
And the preceding wedding.
That's right. So thanks to everybody.
Thanks for everybody for chiming in with your
and every one of our podcasting friends.
Your marital advice.
Thank you for that. And a few new ones as well. The guys from the Britain Yankee checked in, and Oblivion checked in. I actually met Oblivion on at one of the podcaster meetups in the Apple Store in downtown Chicago. So, really nice guy. So, thanks to all of you, and all the usual suspects. Either shot us good wishes through email, voicemail, or gave us little shout-outs on their podcast, so we really appreciate that.
Yeah, and we typically don't do shout-outs because we forget people.
Well, no. Do we? Oh, yeah, because we'll leave one name off, and then we'll hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So if we didn't mention you, it's not because we forgot you. It's just because
we love you all the same. And we didn't record it. We didn't podcast it. The wedding.
Of course not.
Yeah. And actually, that was one of the key things when we moved out of the condo. We had to find a home for the top layer of the wedding cake.
Yeah.
So fortunately,
Who else but Liz and Bob?
The intrepid Liz and Bob, the ever faithful Liz and Bob, offered space in their freezer for our topper, the top of our wedding cake.
We should have a big cheap date, like gala.
Yeah, next year.
Serve wedding cake.
Or like,
everybody gets one bite.
All right, well, let's move on with food because we have a couple places we want to talk about this week.
Yeah, this is a new restaurant doubleheader, or I should say maybe a retooled restaurant doubleheader.
Places that opened where other places were.
Yes.
Sort of like on Monty Python, the Society for Putting Things on Top of Other Things.
Let's not talk about Monty Python.
Nope.
Okay.
All right. What's the first place you want to talk about?
Let's talk about the Thai place.
Mm-hmm.
We have reviewed, and we are big fans of Tamarind Thai on Gulf Road in Arlington Heights.
Right.
And if you look over on the left side of our screen, you'd find Tamarind Thai in there and see what we had to say about it before. But we're in there all the time, so it was a Monday night. We needed some food. Oh, I'm a vegetarian now. More on that later.
Good point.
We needed some food, and I was craving tofu. And people always think that sounds very strange, but tofu is completely craveable, especially when it's, like, grilled and doused with Thai seasoning and sauces.
And it's the only protein you're allowing yourself, other than eggs.
I eat eggs and cheese and peanuts and legumes and tofu.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Just not animal.
I'm getting hungry just listening to you.
Just not animal flesh.
Legumes.
Okay.
Anyway.
So I was craving tofu. And we called Tamarind to ask if they were open on Mondays because we couldn't remember. And do you want to relate the phone call to us?
The phone rings and someone picks up. Hello? Hi, is this Tamarind Thai? Well, it used to be. Oh, well, imagine that. And then the guy proceeded to tell us about the new restaurant that's going in, the fact that they moved out to the suburbs from the city. They actually had a restaurant located on the north side of Chicago, and they closed it and moved it to Arlington Heights.
Lucky us.
Yeah.
We missed Tamarind.
We did.
But let's talk about the future.
Oh, yes.
So we went into this place on, was it
Friday
night? Friday night. And it was packed. Tamarind, although it's popular, it seems, among people we know, Tamarind was never busy.
Right.
At least their dining room was never busy. Maybe they were doing some carry-out.
And there were always certain people you could count on running into there. Liz and Bob. Mm-hmm. Or my daughter and her mom and their stepdad.
Yes.
Or various other cast of characters.
Yeah. So we really liked it. Oh, so it was totally crowded on Friday night. We found out later it was because these people had called some of their patrons from their Chicago location to come out and visit the new location. And they managed to have quite a good showing. The food was great. They have a different menu.
Yes.
The interior is largely the same.
Right. Same decor.
The menu is the same type of food, but it seems to be all new recipes.
Yes.
And based on the couple entrees we had, we are very happy with the changes.
Yes. We had crab rangoon, which was delicious and very well prepared.
Yes.
It was crunchy on the outside, and you're filling your nondescript cream cheesy imitation crab filling. Was very, very good and very, very, very tasty. And and the shell portion of it was very crunchy, crispy. For those of you who are into texture, as my wife is. Oh, my wife. And then we also had, I had the chicken noodles soup.
That's right. It was
It was chicken. It was a very light chicken broth.
Mm-hmm.
But it was crammed with bean sprouts and like pad thai noodles. Almost that thick. Maybe not quite as wide, but pretty wide noodles.
No, they were... Pad thai is like, kind of like linguine.
Oh, linguine. Oh, no. So it would be... Okay.
So they were like pad kimao.
Right. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you.
They were big wide noodles and huge chunks of chicken.
Yeah, absolutely. And fresh. Everything was just fresh.
Mm-hmm. Then what was your entree?
Do we have any other appetizers, or was that it?
That's
Okay.
it.
My entree, everyone has, I've found, when you go to, well, I've discovered that when you go to
No, that's
Thai,
true.
when you go to Thai places, you always judge the restaurant. You have a benchmark.
Right.
Right.
Pad
And
Thai would be a good one.
Pad Thai is your benchmark. My benchmark is Pad See which, if it's done right, the noodles are somewhere, they're still soft, but sometimes they have little crunchy edges on them. And the seasonings, and it's just, they have to cook it just to the point where they stop burning it.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't get scorched. A little too much scorching and you've gone too far.
Right.
But I had the chicken pad see ew and it was delicious. I enjoyed it immensely.
And I had pad kimao, drunken noodles, right?
Yes.
With tofu.
Mm-hmm.
Also wonderful. Actually, I do like to get pad thai, but I find that not a lot of Thai restaurants are up to my pad thai standard.
Oh, really?
But I like pad kimao because it's a little, it's spicy. It's also hard to get spicy pad thai. Some places will do it, and some places look at you like you just asked for spicy milk.
What is your spicy milk?
No, really, they're like, no, it's not spicy. But I want it spicy. Well, but it's not.
What about what is your benchmark? What is the best pad thai you had? Whose would you say is the high watermark of pad thai?
You know what? I can't remember, but I think if I had to guess, I would say Mai Tai downtown.
Oh, really? Mai Tai in Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
Where does
I really love it.
Where does Typhoon in Seattle fit in?
I can't remember. I remember liking it, but I can't remember the food that well. We used to order from a place called Sawadi's there, though.
Yeah.
They had very, very good pad thai.
Mm-hmm.
And very good, I can't remember what it was called, but they had this dish with beef and mushrooms and oyster sauce, and
To die for.
yeah, it was L3.
L3.
If anybody from Bainbridge Island is listening.
L3.
L3 at Sawadi's.
Is that...
2.5 stars.
Oh, okay. Is it anything like L7, or is that something else?
No, it's not like L7.
Okay. So that's Thai Little Home, 638 East Gulf Road. As we said, it wasn't the home of Tamarind Thai, but it's a new place, it's a new year, it's a new world. It's a brave new Thai world. So let's go out there and let's be safe,
noodles.
people. Have some noodles, people. Okay.
Now, on to part 2 of our doubleheader. Downtown, across from the train station, across from the Jewel, was a place called Pronto Roma. And a little over a year ago, they closed and put up a sign that they were remodeling. And they would open in March.
Right.
But they never reopened. And then a few weeks ago, we found out that a new place was going in called Armand's.
Right. Which is a restaurant that had been in Elmwood Park. Actually, I guess they're still in Elmwood Park.
Yes.
And this is their Arlington Heights outpost.
Yes.
Now, I went to a Chamber of Commerce event there. The mayor of Arlington Heights was there.
Ooh.
And, yeah, I know.
Mayor Daley?
Yeah. Mayor Arlene was there. And it was, it was cool. I talked to the owners. I was just stopping by. I didn't have a chance to sample anything, but it was the place looked really good. Oddly enough, looked a lot like Pronto Roma.
Yeah, exactly like Pronto Roma.
When you're closing an Italian restaurant and you're putting an Italian restaurant in its place, they have a tendency to maybe look a little similar.
One thing I really miss about Pronto Roma is the gelato counter. Remember that? That was crazy.
Oh, they had a mad gelato counter.
But moving on to the future, because that's what we do here.
That's right.
We've been to Armand's twice in the last couple weeks. And both times we were very happy with it. Both times I got wonderfully rich vegetarian dishes.
Uh-huh.
And eggplant parmesan, and prior to that, margarita pizza.
Uh-huh.
They have the really thin crust pizza with a tomatoey olive oil sauce on top. They also have classic thin crust and deep dish pizza. But they also have I don't know what the word is for that kind of pizza, but like the CPK style pizza.
Right.
And you had
The first time we went there, I had I had an Italian beef and sausage combo sandwich.
Oh my goodness.
With marinara sauce. And I didn't get cheese on that one, did I? No, I didn't.
Cheese.
I could have.
No, you didn't get cheese.
But it was absolutely delicious. And it came with a little side of fries. So that was really good.
And how was the chicken parmesan?
I had the chicken parmesan. Actually, this evening we went, and I had the chicken parmesan tonight, and it was perfect. The thing of you got to be careful with chicken parmesan. I believe we've spoken about this before on the Cheap Date Show. Is that you can make chicken parmesan wrong, because the idea is that you take the chicken breast and you have to pound it out to flatten it. But if they flatten it too much, pound it out too much, it becomes very dry.
Then you get like chicken cracker.
Chicken jerky.
Chicken jerky.
And that was not the case. It was absolutely perfectly done. It was perfectly tender, plenty of chicken taste, good mozzarella, good marinara sauce. And it was served with a lovely little vegetable medley on the side of green beans, red peppers, and carrots. Delicious.
It was a nice vegetable medley. I've come to really appreciate a good vegetable medley.
Mm-hmm. And the place is, it's very nice. The decor is very nice. It's an Italian place, but it's more of a casual Italian place. It's not dark. The place is it's a corner. The building is on the corner, and it's surrounded entirely by windows. So in the daytime, it's very bright, or when it's light out, it's very bright in there.
Yes, it's not dark at all. They have a full bar. The menu is pizza, pasta. I would say their priciest entree is probably $16.95 for some sort of seafood pasta. Sandwiches, salads.
Yeah. The first night we went there, we got out there, you had your pizza, I had a sandwich, and we had a couple soft drinks, and we got out of there for like $30. Mm-hmm. Tonight we had a little bit more substantial dinner. It was about $40 with tip and everything else, all told. So, which oddly enough was around the same price as we paid at the Thai place. So,
okay.
Cheap all the way around. So,
I mean, not $4.95 cheap, but
right. But yeah, we really enjoyed it. The staff was very, very friendly at Armand's, and just a nice atmosphere. They have a giant bar in there too, which is left over from the Pronto Roma days. So
those have been our dining adventures lately.
Yeah, and we should probably mention the other night we went to Los Jardines with Liz and Bob for margarita swirls.
Delicioso.
You can look through our old shows for our review of that place. Nice little neighborhood Mexican place. Just awesome.
Okay, now I said I would come back to this, so I guess I should.
Okay. It's all yours.
Lisa is a vegetarian for the month of April.
What?
Yes, that's right. I'm taking a philosophy class, and I have decided, through the guidance of my fellow philosopher classmates and the chief philosopher, our professor, that it is in no way justifiable to eat animals.
Oh, we're gonna get letters now.
Now, I'm not done yet. Before you pop open your email, I don't mean it's never justifiable for anyone to eat animals. Obviously, if you're starving and you need to eat an animal, okay, or if you're in a situation where other protein sources are not readily available.
Like that book and movie Alive, where those soccer players crashed in the Andes.
That's not exactly what I had in mind.
The only meat they had available was
each other.
A guy named Juan and a bunch of other people.
I think you could make the argument that if you don't eat animals in a situation, you can't eat animals in any situation, but that's not where I'm going with this. I just mean that we have the technology now that it is not, strictly speaking, necessary to eat animals for nutritional reasons, and given how much the animals generally suffer in being raised and then slaughtered, it's hard to reconcile my culinary enjoyment with their profound suffering. So I've been a vegetarian for 2 weeks now, and
Spoken like a 2-week vegetarian. Oh, that's going to get letters, too.
And I found it surprisingly easy. I tell some people, and they're like, well, what do you eat? And you know what? This sounds like pita garbage, but I eat whatever I want.
Wow.
Except meat.
Okay.
I mean, most of what I eat is not meat. So I can't eat chicken, fish, or I don't eat chicken, fish, beef, pork. I haven't eaten pork in months anyway. I don't eat beef, chicken. I hardly ever eat fish anyway. I've always meant to eat more fish. Or turkey. So I don't eat chicken nuggets, and I don't eat cheeseburgers from McDonald's.
Okay.
And when we go to Armand's, I order eggplant parmesan instead of chicken parmesan. I really don't even know the difference. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say that in the last few days, I've come to crave meat more. I don't crave the flavor of meat, but I think I crave the toughness of meat.
Okay. Texture?
I don't want to say texture exactly, but I mean like...
The feedback?
Yeah. Yeah, like there's really... You don't really chew anything as hard as you have to chew meat. And especially today, like I kind of survived on Slim Fast and yogurt. Not because I'm a vegetarian, but because I didn't plan my meals well. But I really craved, like, I feel like my jaw wants to chew on something tough. So, we'll see how that goes. But nutritionally, I think I'm doing fine. Mm-hmm. I'm relying a bit more on cheese than I really ought to. And I only say that because cheese is almost as bad as meat in terms of the way animals suffer.
The production.
Yes.
Yeah.
And eggs are terrible. But also eggs and cheese are high in fat relative to the protein. Like, you're hard-pressed to find a protein source as good as boneless, skinless chicken. Honestly.
Right. That's true.
But I do like tofu. I don't make my own tofu, but I like to order it out, so I need to try to make it. And our kitchen's been shut down for a week, but when it opens back up in a few days...
Oh, boy.
Tofu stir-fry for everybody.
Looking forward to that.
Knock it off. I made fajitas that night, and I just refrained from the chicken. I had beans and rice, and it was great.
Delicious. Oh, and
Didn't
Lisa...
you enjoy my beans and rice?
I did, and actually you should give your recipe for the beans you made.
Listen to this. You guys are going to die when you hear how easy these beans are. I went to the Mexican grocery and I bought 2 cans of black beans. 50 cents each. Chop up an onion, saute it in some oil or butter if you like that richness. Add, half a teaspoon? I didn't actually do this part. But add half a teaspoon or a teaspoon of cumin to the onion. And cook that for about 30 seconds. Cooking the cumin dry, more or less, opens up the flavor. Okay. Then drain and rinse the beans. Add the 2 cans of beans to the skillet. I'm not explaining this very well.
I'm with you so far. I'm visualizing it in my mind.
You need to start with a big skillet.
Right.
That'll hold 2 cans of beans. Add the 2 cans of beans. Cook those for another minute. Add about a cup of water and let the whole thing simmer. The recipe said just for a couple minutes. I let the whole thing simmer for about 10 minutes, and I kind of mashed the beans up with a fork as time permitted. Mash the beans up with a fork, and after they've gotten soft, add, and this is the key, 2 to 4 teaspoons of Tabasco Chipotle. Not regular Tabasco, not green Tabasco, but Chipotle Tabasco. Then, when you taste it, it'll taste too Tabasco-y. Let it cook, let it mellow out a little bit more. Add a good dose of salt.
Right.
Like a couple teaspoons. Mm-hmm. You would think the beans are pretty salty, the Tabasco's kind of salty, but you need plenty of salt just to keep it all balanced. And voila. Mm-hmm. I could have left the meat out of that meal and you never would have even missed it.
You're absolutely right. I wouldn't have. It was delish.
I paired it with some brown rice out of the freezer from Trader Joe's. And there's your complete protein.
There you go. Perfect. It was delicious. Everyone enjoyed it. The kids enjoyed it.
I don't think the kids even had the beans.
Well, I enjoyed it. I had enough beans for all of us. You might even say that I'm full of beans. But then again,
I might, but since I have you around to say things like that.
Thank you, honey. Okay.
So, you've gotten 2 restaurants, both with vegetarian options.
You heard
a
Lisa's...
vegetarian recipe, and my moralizing about...
what it's like to be a vegetarian.
What it's like to be a vegetarian. I think, for me, the process of doing it is much more interesting than the moral. I've come to this conclusion for myself. I'm not a self-righteous vegetarian, am I?
No, you're not.
I'm very unassuming and humble in my vegetarianism.
And you don't wave that flag in everyone's face.
I very inconspicuously decline meat.
Mm-hmm.
And find other things to eat. And it's not much work at all.
Yeah. Delish.
So, we'll see how it goes.
All right.
That's how diehard I am.
We'll see how it goes.
I might be back to eating bacon in a few more weeks.
That's right. That first big Sunday breakfast in the new house. Oh, boy.
Did we throw away my soy patties? They weren't that bad.
What is that smell? Oh, it's the soy patties.
The first
Quick,
bite,
let it match.
The first bite was kind of rocky, but the rest was good.
Well, that was good.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode.
Yep, time's up.
Okay. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If you would like to send us a comment, how can they get a hold of us?
They can email dish@cheapdateshow.com.
Or you can leave a voicemail like many of our friends did at 206-203-3283, which spells...
date.
And
206-203 date.
Yes, that's it.
Not all those letters spell date.
I was going to say, in what numerical code? What cryptography?
If you add up all the letters, they add up to 23.
OMG. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
This podcast is proudly listed at podcastpickle.com.